In this land of broken rules, political fools, we got to stick together. In many ways, the people have always been ahead of their leaders. But we got to keep eagle-eyeing their foolishness if we're going to rise above. I don't care who says my cliche is tired, but what we need is love. Watch how we moving, watch how we grooving, see how we float in style. One nation under a groove, the Ganges has met the night. The hidden agendas.
Liberty.
Liberty Mutual is all she talks about since we saved hundreds by bundling our home and auto insurance.
Liberty.
It's pronounced Biberty.
Liberty.
Biberty.
Liberty.
Nice try, kid. Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, liberty, liberty.
Liberty.
Of the mind benders, these people will always do their due. But when we get to that sweet place that we go in, them could come along too. Cause we moving with the power and the glory. See how we float in style. One nation, one group, the Ganges has met tonight. There'll come a time when our children will ask us, big people, what did you do? And when we let the lyric fly, pray not to lie, the choice is up to you. Tell me why so many rivers of this world found their way into this land. The sweet answer lies in the very question. I hope you understand. Watch me. And now, the lady who called from North Korea and say she have it on stream. All the streamers in the United States, Europe, throughout the Caribbean, we will sing this one together all around the world with the people here today. Are you ready? See how we moving. One nation. One nation. Hidden agendas. The hidden agenda of the mind benders. They will always do their due. But when we get to that sweet place, Trinidad and Tobago, even them could come along too. Cause we move with the power and the glory. See how we go this time. One nation, one group, the Ganges has met the night. The Ganges has met the night. The Ganges has met the night. A little sweet. Many rivers flow to this naked eye, bringing fear and pain, but also a brand new style. And of all these rivers that shape this land, two mighty ones move like a Scottish doctor's hand. And today those hands across the land man is still landscaping. And there's no doubt we can work it out, there is no escaping. But as the rivers flow, there are those who will send this passage. So every common man got to understand up and send a message. I tell you, put up your hand if you understand. Now come, see how we move it, watch how we groove it, see how we float this time. One lovely nation under a roof. Tell me. Them boys with the hidden agenda and the mind bender, they will always do their do. Various smart men and politicians, well, them could come along too, cause we move it with our power and our glory. See how we move inside. One lovely nation under a group. The King James has met the night. Check it out. I'm always kind of fascinated. Every political party in this country just play that tune election time. But the funny thing is, they never play the second verse. So just because they never hear the second verse, I'm going to sing the second verse for them. Differences, there will always be, so that you could be you and I could be me. But that's the damn thing, self, that makes this country sweet. Partner, bring your drum. Let me start a beat. Don't mind that politics, politician. We done jamming on them because we know the story. Let them fight if they want in this land of the deep. You know what we gonna do? What we gonna do? Come, see how we move it, watch how we groove it, see how we float in style. Oh yeah, one lovely nation under a groove. Jesus has met tonight. Get back to the hidden agenda and the mind bender. I'm always kind of fascinated. Every political party in this country just play that tune election time. But the funny thing is, they never play the second verse. So just because they never hear the second verse, I'm going to sing the second verse for them. Differences, there will always be, so that you could be you and I could be me. But that's the damn thing, self, that makes this country sweet. Partner, bring your drum. Let me start a beat. Don't mind that politics, politician. We done jamming on them because we know the story. Let them fight if they want in this land of the deep. You know what we gonna do? What we gonna do? Come, see how we move it, watch how we groove it, see how we float in style. Oh yeah, one lovely nation under a groove. Jesus has met tonight. Get back to the hidden agenda and the mind bender. They will always do their do. Now we hold it on. Now that we hold it on, coming to the promised land. Then could come along too, cause we move it with our power and the glory. See how we flow inside. One lovely nation headed to salvation. Jesus has met the time. Hit me hard.
You all understand why I say Kaiso is the greatest musical genre on earth. Greatest. We move in with the power and the glory. King David Michael Rudder. Y'all here was this thing of multiracialism. You could be you, and I could be me. Our government saying multiracialism is when all of you all come and be we. Come and be me. That's what they're saying. That's why they don't play that verse, as Reverend Rudder say, them in Trinidad when they play the Kaiso. The essence of multiracial democracy is that you could be you and me could be me. Good evening, welcome. We're into the second week of the civil uprising in Guyana. Civil uprising. No party organized nothing. Them lady, young and old, leading the communities. Every night they're out there with a candle. They're out there with a candle. From village to village, tongue to tongue, country to country. It's a civil uprising in Guyana. That's what we've been talking about here every week. I mean, it's not sustainable. You can't continue to do what you've been doing for the last 5 years and just expect nothing will happen. And as I said last Monday, them boys take the thing to the next level. Shut down the country for a night. Plane got turned back and go where we come from. They take over the country for one night and they said, all right, we give it back to you. But this story ain't done yet. And running all the place who scraped and whether this body they do this and who and wanted bulletin for girl who give wrong information. And these are the people on the first day the child disappear. They give the country wrong information. They said the little girl, 11-year-old girl, go in a car with a big man and go away. And the commander and them who give the information, they ain't get arrested yet. No wanted bulletin for them. Sisters and brothers, good evening. Wherever you're joining us from. Wherever you're joining us from. Welcome to Politics 101. Dr. Jeffrey is here tonight, and I know that you are anxious to hear Dr. Jeffrey's take on what has been happening in the last couple of weeks. It don't lie, you know. Jeffrey, every time he come here every 2 weeks, he said the same thing. You can't continue to do this all the time. It is not sustainable. It is not sustainable. It is not sustainable. And if they think that by rounding up them little boy and throwing them in jail and every day is a new wanted bulletin for somebody who says something and they're taking little thief in and turn that into terrorism, looting suddenly turned to terrorism. As I left there, when I left here last night, I said, I want them to explain to me. I want them to explain, since they say it's crazy, people up on the road creating mayhem and terror. In this country, where African and Indians have been slugging it away with each other, and every time you get a little public thing, either Indian protesters pelting black children and beating up black people, or black people beating up Indian people. Curiously, last week, Monday night, no Indian didn't get beat up. The looting took place on them Chinese restaurant and Chinese store. I wonder what happened there. The one incident they talk about, the Indian children who get acid thrown in the face by Montrose, till up to now, they didn't arrest the two boys who they show in the 2 by picture. They're arresting everybody else. But these two boys who supposedly attacked these Indian children because they're Indian, they ain't catch them yet. That is why I said to Amanza Walton, the zoo was very quick to go visit the family after the president visited the family. We know the president and the PPP going to use that as on the billboards for election. They intend to do so because they intend to say it's black people attack them Indian children. But Amanza run and go. Amanza, if that story turned out to be a domestic story or something other than politics, you're gonna look shame. And while you are teaching, you can start visiting about 400 family. I don't know if you've been to Crummy Wing family yet, to Wadlow family, to Boston family, because you start visiting family. Guyana politics is not an easy story. Jeffrey was telling me as we were preparing for this show, if we were Bajans, politics would have been so boring. Guyana politics takes a little time to figure it out. At a certain level, because we are part of it, we know what's going on. But at another level, when things like these happen, out of the blue, sort of, you got to take some time to figure it out. But you're taking this all. One people, one nation, one destiny. And some of the other, as I think the middle class black people are saying, we are against blocking roads. We are against burning tires. And their own foreparents let it in black roads and burn tires during slavery. If them would have there to talk today. Anyhow, it's not me night tonight. It's Jeffrey night tonight. He's the political scientist long before me. I read Jeffrey book when I was an undergraduate. Now, I had gone to graduate school by 10 years and Barbara write the book on Guyana. So he's the teacher, I am the student. Please share the link and let them know that Politics 101 is on tonight. You all too worthless. You all emailing me and inboxing me and telling me it's me boxing people them who go out 4 day morning yesterday morning and beat the drums and cause the funeral for postpone. I just take responsibility for boxing for plenty things, but I ain't taking responsibility with that one. Right? The people been out and they beat the drum 4 day morning. We in Buxton always accustomed to sunrise drum beating. It's not nothing new. So I don't know what you all talking about. I don't know what you all talking about. Dr. Hines, I saw a comment on Sherrod's program this morning that the teacher husband is in custody for throwing acid. Hence the criminal enterprise is quiet. You all remember when the thing happened? I said, I waited for more information before I make any comment. One level. At the second level, whoever throw acid in people's face, whether it's political or not political, is a bad thing. It's a reprehensible thing. That was Lee's comment. I ain't jump out and say, is black people going to throw acid on Indian people? No, that could still be the story. We don't know yet. But what I'm saying, after almost a week, nobody can get arrested yet, but you are telling me no. Somebody husband or sweet man get arrested, I don't know. Oi. Jeffrey said that if we were in Barbados, this politics would have been boring. Dr. Jeffrey, good evening.
Good evening, David, and good evening again to your audience.
BV, which is a very quiet and orderly place. I used to remember as a small boy walking from Buxton to go to BV to watch picture. because we didn't have cinema. They movie cinema and they take you to Vijay. So we used to walk to BV for going to watch picture. When picture done, I think pictures were done by 8 something, 9 o'clock. When we walk out to BV, quiet. Well, now it's a little bit different. When I go in BV now, then by sporting up and so on. But BV is always considered, compared to Pleasance and Buxton, right? A very quiet place. But I see even BV come out with a candle in the hand and thing. Help us in a general way to understand, because I think the question that I posed and all the analysts, none of them getting into it, why the death of a little 11-year girl, working class girl, from an isolated place out there in the West Coast, West Coast Demararis Bankers people. I mean, every day you open the paper, some little girl disappearing, some little girl drunk, dying, but why this particular death has ignited what I am calling a civil resistance movement? Talk to us, Dr. Jeffrey.
David, it is a long story, but let me tell you this, that essentially, in my view, what occurred there and how it started was a result of people knowing to themselves in their own mind. We say belief, and we got religious belief, but people believing that the authorities are biased and corrupt. So when the people try to deal with this thing normally, the people try to deal with it normally. This thing started no big as use any political thing. My daughter missing, we want to search the hotel, we want to do this, we want to do that. When the police now comes and say, block the place, you can't search, and maybe there is legality to that, you just can't go in and search hotel just like that. Police comes and give wrong information, girl gone with big man off the road. And people saying, where you find the big man? The police in our country today don't have any kind of respect from anybody. I have a friend who said to me that she thinks she want to be a police, but she want to be on the streets. She just want to work with the car, man. So instead of asking them for 5,000, she's going to ask them for 2. And all of them go pay rather than bucket. So it is the outcome of the behavior of the institutions that are supposed to protect the people, that the people start realizing in protecting them, and the outcrop of that is they start asking why, and then all the racial elements and everything come in. If it's a coolie girl, you'll go. If it's a black girl, you'll go. If it's and the things start spiral out. What happened there is I don't know why the people would have given people wrong information. It might well have been, as some say, to say if the girl gone away, and remember, apparently they say gone with some big man. If the girl gone away, people would have quiet down. But that's not the way. You can't just tell people that. What you gotta do is tell the people how you intend to proceed and so on. That did not happen. It is the institution that caused the problem. And once the institution caused the problem, it spiraled out of control, because now people are hearing this is ridiculous. And then when you go find out too now that the girl apparently now the institution that put out the information. Even Barrett had to bring the tape, bring the tape if it's true. But you see, when you set up this kind of arrangement, you got commissars and all them trying, even the commissar trying to help, maybe. He tried to help. But then the people that run down the road behind some man or something, but the people stay there because the father starts saying the girl is in there. She can't leave. And the result is the institution that caused the problem. The institution that the PPP has been doing every single thing to keep in place people of all sort of questionable character. Well, we just see what to Brutus. We just see, and the public come out and see clearly the level of kind of corruption that exists in the police. So that is how it blew out the steam. The thing become ethnic. Because all you're hearing, if the girl this, they wouldn't have done this. Somebody throw acid and they're making a big fuss out of it, and that is why it blew out. And of course, the natural, and it fit well into the national ideological political context, because everybody start to realize that the PP Progressive Party is running an ethnic state. They want to stay in power. They have been subverting black people for 20 years to stay in power. People know this, but people don't know to articulate it. Go from the public service. Even the US recent report on drugs, it says public servants are badly paid in Guyana, and that is the way the police can't make is part of the problem, because they're going to be easily trapped by these drug lords and so on. So that is the context. They create a context thinking that all they're going to do is make black people poor to go and vote for them. When they start giving out little pittance, when the PPP came to government, they cut the budget for public servants by half what they were going to pay and they increased that for capital works by twice as much. Now, who the capital works going to? Who the budget they cut? Now, when they walk around this village and start giving them people $10 and $5 to clean trench and all sort of nonsense, a big bill road that thing will last for more than a couple of months, who money they're giving them? Is the parents' money who is to work in these places. That is what they've been doing. And so it all boils down. It comes back to the political context that you are talking about Guyanese middle class, but now so now the black African middle class like that. In the middle class a little like that too. We are not going to talk about that, any sort of disturbances and so on. But the ordinary man in the street ain't got time with it. At one point or another, he's going to come out and say, this is this. It got to stop. No. And that is that. It is not poverty. I end my last article by saying, it is not poverty that make people riot. It's relative deprivation. All the working social life. You can't be riding around in a Rolls Royce and I walk it. And we've been in the same school, and I see you do nothing better. That is the problem. And it's there. It has always been there. And incidents like this will bring it to the fore. And there's nothing the PPP can possibly do about it because it's their cause. That is, David, remember Marcus Carter, what he said? He said a country like Guyana got to shared governance for it to be run democratically. He said, he says inevitable. You got a bicommunal state of two people, two ethnicity, as Rudder was saying just now. You got your way, I got my way. Therefore, how are we going to do this way? You going to come to power and run things your way? Or I'm going to come to power and run it my way? Or we got to sit at the table and decide what is the way? We have to do that. Suriname is doing it. Like Suriname. You can't come to the table and say, because I buy over, you impoverish them and buy over a few black people, or you keep them in some legal something, and then next thing they got, if you come by us, the legal thing gonna go away. You just crap the whole legal system. And how you gonna govern with a context like that? And that is the context. Well, to be truthful, this election that's coming up, don't matter what the PPP do, unless they do some radical things before this election, it is not winning a democratic election. It doesn't matter. It has subverted all notions of democracy already. It buying vote, it going and do a kind of magic. You don't want this, you don't want that. All, as Transparency International said, the PPP and its colleagues in the private sectors captures the state. Not me, not Jeffrey. Jeffrey don't do that. Transparency International. But you ain't got to go far to see it. They have captured the state and do what they want with it. It used to be an ad from what's his name saying, we switch. Why you think we switch? You never see that. This is a private company putting out ad like that. I see, even Exxon gonna bring a ship called Wangaya with the island. You know, I mean, you know, so effectively, they have captured the state and doing what they want with it. And if they go to the polls tomorrow in the election, they have not a democratic election. They're already classed as close enough to an autocracy, an elected autocracy, more or less like, well, not more or less, because at least they're 70% of the population in Singapore, but they are not even 50%, you know. And they want to run the show all by themselves. And oh no, you heard this one? Somebody wrote an article, I saw it somewhere, that the PPP is now a coalition because after all, James Bond joined them. I said, there's got to be some kind of joke. You understand me? The PPP's in dilemma. Rather than us coming together, as Rhoda said, you want Pandey told me this thing, you know. I think I told you that. Mm-hmm. When Jaddy Jagan died, they sent me to chaperone Pandey around, and he tell me the minute we get in the car. He told me that, he said, in Trinidad, we're going to get together. And, you know, at that time, I was very questioning all this shit, governance thing. I said this thing, you know, I got no opposition and all that sort of a thing until, remember, tell about Gregory Gaskin, you know. Yeah. So effectively, you have a situation here that they have created. You can't run this country by yourself, period, in a democratic manner.
We seem to have lost Dr. Jeffrey there for a minute. He is going to be back. There must be something there. I think we have lost him for a minute. He is going to be back shortly. He's going to be back shortly. Dr. Jeffrey is going to be back. I think we have a technical problem there. We're trying to make sure that Dr. Jeffrey comes. Please share the link. Please share the link. Share the link and let them know that Politics 101 is on tonight. Dr. Jeffrey is going to be back here.
We're gonna rise above. I don't care who says my cliche is tired, but what we need is love. Watch how we moving, watch how we grooving, see how we float in style. One nation under a groove, the Ganges has met the Nile. The hidden agendas of the mind benders, these people will always do their do. But when we get to that sweet place that we going, them could come along too. Cause we moving with the power and the glory. See how we float in style. One nation, one groove, the Ganges has met tonight. There'll come a time when our children will ask us, big people, what did you do? And when we let the lyric fly, pray not to lie, the choice is up to you. Tell me why so many rivers of this world found their way into this land. The sweet answer lies in the very question. I hope you understand. Watch me. And
Dr. Jeffrey's back. Dr. Jeffrey's back.
I don't know what happened there. The thing just went.
Things are happening in mysterious ways these days. Dr. Jeffrey is back. David Rudder filling in there. We're moving with the power and the glory. Dr. Jeffrey, the opposition for the last 5 years didn't bring people on the streets. You know, they gave all kinds of explanation, the main opposition, as to why they couldn't bring people on the streets. But now people are out in the streets every night. And it's not just politicos are out on the street. It's them big lady, you know, young women, the so-called scrapers, they say, also on the streets. People who the opposition would tell you, boy, we don't even know if we could get people on the streets. But for whatever it is, they decide they're going to infiltrate this thing. We're not going on the street. But now these people of all social stratas, particularly in the African Guyanese community, we saw the beginning across the West Coast. There were some Indians also on the street. And the thing has spilled over into the diaspora, England, you know, Suriname, all over. Put your political scientist hat on and explain this thing. Explain to us what is it? What's happening?
Well, one thing is certain. If you don't want people to get shot and all that, the politician got to come out there and lead it. They're out there anyway, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not a question anymore if the politicians going to come out. The people are out there. Now, if you don't be out there because you are politicians, the people are doing your job for you, because effectively, democracy only exists where the people keep their power dry.
Mm-hmm.
The people must always be prepared at the end of the day to come to the streets. If something ain't happened, they must be. Now, if the people themselves are coming on the streets, you have got to show some kind of leadership. But what would the leadership would you show? That's it. You are in a better position than me to say. But I am saying that you got to show leadership. And if you're going to show leadership, you got to show a leadership that says, what rather says, how are we going to live here together? How are you planning for us to live here together? And that is what you have to do. So we understand why it happened. One of the institutions of the state, one or two of them, at least the police, made big errors. If you have people saying they want to go in, well, maybe because of rules and all of these things and laws, you guys say, wait, we are going to go in ourselves. We are going to do this. But don't try to kerfuffle the people by telling them, but the girl gone in the car with the big man and gone up the road and all that sort of thing. The minute you do that, problem. The problem now is how, David, you are going to lead them. Because you're a senior leader now, you know.
But let's talk this thing. I made the observation that unlike other uprisings and protests on the streets, Indians were not targeted this time around. Is it that the opposition charges that the PPP, whenever we see these attack on the Indians, the PPP are the ones who plan these people to attack Indians? Or is it that the protesters on the streets were so conscious of the racial situation that they decide we're not touching Indians? What is it? What is it? With all the so-called mayhem and riots, as they call this thing, Indians were not targeted. Talk to us, Jeffrey.
David, I know you see what happened, my man. What I tell you?
Hey.
You're gonna have all the police on the wall and make a few thugs come down the wall, down the road and go in the market. How that happen? Where was the police? They're standing up by BV or somewhere in bulk, and you waiting for the thugs to come in the market. And then when the thugs come in, you are blaming the thugs. They are thugs, and you're blaming black people and black people like that. Anywhere in the world, India, anyway, people are rioting. They do. People were protesting. Some going to try to get in and do this thing. It was your job. You got thousands of police. Since you heard they come in, not to stop them, but to say, knowing the ethnic context, to cordon off Monrebo Market. Nobody should be able to go, but you stand away. They come, a few thugs come, they do what they like. Now you blame the whole black community for that. And God has said, you see what they can do, Let me tell you what I saw. I was Minister of Education and I had my thing in breakdown. What are you saying there in breakdown? I see those chaps up and down the road, African chaps up and down the road with the confusion. And some little Indian girls coming down from school. I said, we're going to have to, and they're just going down to school and going back and walk down the way. Nobody has said a word to them. That was one of the first time I started saying, these girls just walk in, you know, they're a bit thing, but they walk in and they glance away and they go break. I said, wow. Because I just, nothing. So the PPP needs to lock down the Indian villages. They have done so for the most part. It's locked down. It's not like black people village, you can do anything, say anything, and everything happen. You know, you can go and say you're going to vote for the PPP, PNC, or PPP, and then nobody bother with you too much. They only just saying, we hope you got good sense by the end of the day. The villages are locked down. They got commissars. They got party people that are strong in these matters. Every time you hear, you haven't seen how many people you have seen on the television saying what has happened to them because they make some statement about PPP and Indian thing and so on. So those villages are locked down for the most part. The opposition would be naive to think they're getting any great big turnover votes from India. It's not going to happen. The vice president himself says it's not going to happen. He says, when the teachers strike here, he said, let them strike, but when time comes, they don't know where to vote. He said that. And so you're naive to think you won't get sufficient Indian vote. And I'm not saying you might get 1% if you get so much. There is plenty. But let me say you got 1%, that ain't give you no right to go and rule Indians. You get 1% of Indian votes or 2% of Indian votes. You ain't got no, they ain't give you no right. Even if you get 51% of the vote, they give you no right to go and rule Indians. That is not democracy. That's why in Trinidad and Suriname, the president, to become the president, you gotta get 2/3 of the parliament, not 51%. So when you see a Suriname president, he's not in the same position. After all, who is the vice president? Brunswick. Must be wicked and Bob. So, so effectively, you can't get 2% of another population and just come over to a 51. You can't even get 5% and claim to rule there in a democratic fashion. Well, they say, don't worry, this after what the PP has been doing to try to get whatsoever it wants. So it cannot. So you have to sit down and say, I would not be able to, if I can't get, I don't know, you're going to see I get 30, nothing. But it doesn't matter. Even if you got 20% of the Indians out there against you, you got to learn to live with that and deal with the situation.
Dr.
Yes, don't worry this thing. You think you'll get one more seat, and they say you're going to rule Indians or Africans, you're there in the wrong place. But the people only got to want the one seat more to say, oh, we win election and we are democratic and fool somebody but themselves.
Dr. Henry Jeffrey here tonight in Politics 101. We are trying to make sense of what has been happening for the last couple of weeks in our country. We have seen some things that even some of you diehards didn't expect to happen. Dr. Jeffrey, the title of your column this past weekend is The Unintended Consequences of PPP's Surveillance State. The unintended consequences of PPP surveillance state. First of all, talk to us about the PPP's surveillance state. What is that?
Well, what it means is that the PPP it's not only refusing to talk sensibly to the government of the day, but it got people in almost every institution, and it got rules. I think I gave you the rules that exist. I don't even know if they put all of them, but it exists. You got to do 13 things. You got to even tell them the name of the DJ if you want to hold a party. And you got to, what's the name of the DJ and all this kind of thing? 13 things. You got to go to GRA. You got to go to environmental protection. I said, wait, why in our villages? Why in the villages? You can't just get one, well, not even a person. That is because not every day you get a thing, but one person in charge of this, and people come in and they bring whatever they need to bring, and this person sits down there and get all of these other things once they are satisfied. Why you want to get people running around? Everybody that want party, gotta go GRA, gotta go this person, gotta go that person. One-stop shop. That's what local government is for. That is what local government, people must govern themselves. But no, the PPP wants to know everything you're doing. Who's the name of the DJ? Where the thing? Who? And then if you go to anything, you go for passport, they got a commissars walking around. Anywhere you go, the commissars are there. Yeah, you're seeing them now. I mean, it's not anything new. But it's a whole Soviet trick. Well, not trick, way of organizing things. Now, but that surveillance state means that essentially the people you are putting there to deal with party interests. They are party interests, whether or not you put them in the same uniform or whatsoever of the government, they are dealing with party interests. And when an issue like this now comes up, as I said in the article, when an issue like this now comes up, and you got to consider party interest, got to consider public interest, but party interest come first. The first thing you got to do is get them people away, don't make them go in nowhere, and you make this kind of statement. Oh, she got in some car with a big man and got on. It happens because it runs counter to everything you should have been doing as a law officer. You're supposed to seize the thing, tell the people, yes, we will search. Maybe you need a warrant to search. We'll get it. We can't go in without we having a warrant to go in and search. We will get a warrant. Nobody will be leaving those. We will secure this area. Nobody will be going in this area. You can help us secure the area. And we will now go and try get, if we need to get a warrant or whatever we need to have, and we will come back and we will do a search. We don't know where this girl gone. We are at a loss. But we can assure you that we are working for the people of Guyana, not the PPP. So effectively, that
is what you have. And what are these unintended consequences? You talk about some of them.
No, look at the unintended consequences. No, look. Look in terms of the police again. Police there and the map all over it. When people are complaining about the appointments of police and all that, the PPP are insisting. Then suddenly you have a big burst up with an assistant commissioner, no? And the very people that you have been struggling hard to say, oh, they are good people. We put them, suddenly you got assistant commissioner with millions of dollars, blah, blah, blah. And he was brought this millions of dollars, but other top officers. And then you are still quarreling. What you think the unintended consequence of that would be? If I join the police, just like I was telling you before, if I become a PPP, I'm going to become a PPP, join the police, and I'm going to make money. Because, obviously, I'll have to do what I have to do for the police. When somebody is in some sort of legal problem, if they come at the PPP, the legal problem gone. People with problems going to come to the legal people. But they are not, look in Linden, the police, if you are shooting rioters and people who shoot rioters go promoted and all that, then why not go shoot some rioters? The people are going to compete. It's natural that people compete to get noticed. That's why I said it's simple. You want to call them scrapeheads, but they are scrapeheads last because the education system didn't do much for them in the first place. But that is the result. It's unintended. The PPN intend that issue to operate. They thought that they can do all this without any feedback into the general system.
Into the general system. You say here the third unintended consequence is willful ignorance. where one wants a specific outcome so badly, one purposefully chooses to ignore the unintended effects.
But you see
right.
what happened in terms of migration. You know, you want now to get these black people under control and suppress them. They're always going to fight back, regardless of how the situation will always be unstable. People really don't want their children and so on to live in an unstable situation if they can help it. So everybody going away. But guess when they're going away? Your supporters going away. They could go away in mass because they want to live in this. People, imagine you got acid throwing on people. As you say, we don't know who's thrown the acid up to now. And I was, when I heard this thing happening, man, I said, man, I mean, they're so far away from this thing. Anyway, I don't know, they're set out. But if you don't recognize, if you think you're going to do one thing and it's not going to ricochet into other things, you're mad. It's not, it has, but politicians tend to do it. The PVP is doing it daily. They think they're going to create a sense of unease in the country, and at the same time, their supporters going to, they would love black people to go, but the truth is some black people are going, but Indian people going far much more. And they are now in a dilemma. You got to try to manipulate elections. They don't want, you can't even see the census. Where's the census, David? You ever asked where the guy is? You can't even see the census.
And you say the fourth unintended consequence is what you call basic values. Example, wanting racial, ethnic, political domination and peaceful, equitable development in the ethnic and governance context of Guyana.
Exactly. As I said, Morton, Morton in 1936, when I had to read it when I was going to university. So in 1936, he gave those discourse. You want ethnic and racial unity, but the ethnic context of Ghana don't allow you to dominate the political scene. If you forget though, oh, I can do it. I can suppress them and bring them in. However, all you're doing creating is more stability. It's not gonna instability. It's not going to happen without instability. Nowhere, as Orr was, I think Scott Orr said, nowhere has this happened. Nowhere have you been able to take a bi-communal society and managing it democratically without some forms of shared governance. Suriname got it. And that is not even much bi-communal as we are, because all of them are minor things. So, but no, the PVP thinks that it can come alone and say, we are running Guyana alone. None of the, well, I still say the PVP because I decided the chances to make a decent effort to deal with the things, and it also did not. But it's not going to lead to stability unless you take that into consideration. You got your way, I got my way. And we are equal strength. You can't think your way must rule because you got one vote more. It's stupidity. Downright stupidity. Democracy doesn't mean that in an ethnic context. Nobody would tell you democracy means that in an ethnic town. That's why this government is classified internationally as an autocratic regime who have captured the scale.
Dr. Henry Jeffrey here tonight. We are trying to work our way through what has been happening in our country for the last couple of weeks and continues to happen. The funeral has been postponed. We still have not heard from the government a full-throttled commitment to real investigation in what happened to that child. Dr. Jeffrey, all of a sudden, there is all this big discussion now about these so-called scrapers, scrapeheads, as they call them. What are we hearing there? Why all of a sudden the question of the scrapeheads is now being pushed into the front?
Because the scrapeheads are the one that people can't control. You understand? The scrapeheads are the one who you are, for the most part, are ill-educated. You pump up with a whole lot of consorts and activities, and every day some bad consort. No, you can't control her. You ain't give them no particularly trade. Burnham and left with PICs with you. Now you are pretend. You let them all break down, because in African villages you used to see a whole lot of tradesmen go. Now you can hardly find any. Burnham left. When Burnham put PICs in, when I left the Ministry of Education, we put going to introduce an internationally recognized degree, not degree, certification at the BVPIC. The man tell me, next year it gone. No, you can't find them. They got to make a hustle. The PIC, and what scrapehead mean? I mean, I suppose when they say scrapehead, I mean
people scraping a living.
Yes, and they're confused mentally. You know?
Yes, they're confused mentally.
They're confused. So effectively, if they're confused mentally, you can't deal with them. I'd say and it's not one said can't deal with them, and it's the PVP created them. It's 3 decades they've been running the show. That's right.
They created them. And want to use them for their own purposes, because they feel these are the people they can let loose in the crowds. They feel that these are the people that they can give a $1 million contract here and there, and these are the people going to protect them, and so on and so forth. The unintended consequences.
Of course, you can't get, almost anything you do, I got some consequences that you have to think about. But they ain't thinking about that. They're just focused on what we want. We want this to happen. We want this to happen. But it don't turn out like that. That's not social science. That's why I say social scientists tend to pay attention to it, because they know. Politicians just tend to say, that's what we want. We're going to do what we want. And then when it blow up in the face, it says, oh, lock him up. Lock the other one up. The one stupid. But it's you stupid. You're trying to do the undoable without creating the products that are now biting you or making mistakes to embarrass you. It's you stupid, not them.
Very well put here by Dr. Henry Jeffrey. Dr. Jeffrey, every day they're rounding up these boys, and it seems as though now anything that one says falls under terrorism.
What's that?
Everything now is terrorism.
Yeah, but that's not no. But since they put in the act, everything is terrorism. I mean, so I don't even bother them with it. But they want to catch the West, and particularly the American thing about terrorism. So effectively, everything is terrorism. So they believe if they say something is terrorism, they'll get support from the West. But if these people more sophisticated than you, they know this is autocratic government. Anything that touches autocratic power is terrorism. So when they start with that, I don't even bother. Yeah, because these people know people are just going down the street, walking, messing around. You got terrorism? No, not at all. There is a different thing. You're trying to deal with state power. You're trying to do things to affect large policies. As not this. And those people are out there now, they might be a bit looting and saying, oh, we can loot now and get off with it and so on. But that's terrorism. They don't want to overthrow nobody. They ain't even perhaps know who to overthrow. It's not terrorism is just not violence, directed violence. It can be directed. You can't shoot up your family and you call it terrorism. It's not terrorism. It can be directed toward politically, and that's stupidness.
So, in effect, Dr. Jeffrey, as we close out, if you and you know the PPP because you work with them, after what has happened, are they going back to the drawing board and re-strategizing?
You know, I don't think that even possible. That's always possible.
Mm-hmm.
That is always possible, but it takes some strength to sit down and say, this what we are doing ain't going nowhere. And I don't know that strength exists in the PPP. The PPP, you got to be, and say really, this ain't gonna work. People say, I have never met a theorist that says that this would work, what they're trying to do. Show me. Nobody see practice nowhere. So yes, that's the best thing. People gotta sit down and understand. You, as Rada said, and I didn't even know, you see I quoted Rada 2-3 times. Rada said, you guys away, I gotta be with you. We gotta sit down together and work out a dual way, a way that suits both of us. You don't think you gonna sit down anywhere and run things by your way. Don't do it. And you certainly can't do it because you get 2 more votes.
Dr. Henry Jeffrey here tonight, weighing in on what's happening in our Guyana. Never dull day. Guyana, the politics is always there. Dr. Jeffrey, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, David.
And by the time I see you the next time, I'm sure we'll have much more to talk about.
Okay.
Dr. Henry Jeffrey, political scientist, politician too, so he knows what he's talking about. Tomorrow night, Takumo Gunse is going to be here, and we are going to be continuing the discussion. As you notice, things are not letting up, and I'm particularly interested in the asset throwing, because again, I say to my brother and sister political leaders, take time out and understand the politics. Take time out and understand your country. Do not jump to just something happen and you knee jerk and you using old cliches. You hear acid thrown on some Indian children and you run offering your sympathy. What effect you're doing? You are automatically saying that your own people are callous. They're going to walk around the place and throw acid on Indian children. That is your first response. Rather than say, okay, that could be. When I heard the thing first, I said, oh, Jesus Christ, I hope some stupid little black boy ain't going to do this thing and mess up this thing. That was my first. But as I said publicly, I ain't making no comment till I hear more. And maybe the thing was a random thing. Maybe the thing was ethnically motivated. Maybe the thing was a domestic thing. But politicians, especially black politicians, they don't, I don't get it, you know? They're so quick to throw their own people under the bus. It's as if they don't have confidence in their own people. It is significant that Indians were not targeted as Indians. And the reason I'm saying that, it is not that I don't think there will be isolated incidents of Indians being targeted as Indians. But what it did is that it proved the opposition correct. That whenever these targeted attacks on Indians have happened in the past, it is because the people were planted. Things moved so fast Monday night that they didn't have a chance to plant anybody. And so what happened proved the opposition correct. And instead of some opposition leaders exercising their minds and say, boy, this thing is complex. Guyana politics not easy. I teach it for 3 decades and more. And every time I teach the theory, and then I teach Guyana, my student has said that times, Guyana not fitting into these theories. And then we come up in the academia with what we call theory building. In a sense, in terms of understanding ethnic politics and ethnic society, Guyana is a place to pay attention to. Let me end with Trinidad. They just had the Trinidad election. The UNC, the Indian Party, increased its seat allocation from 19 to 26. And they say it's a landslide. It also got 54% of the popular votes. They say it's a landslide. But when you peel back those numbers, there are a couple of things that jump out. First of all, the turnout was 54%. Down from 58% in 2020. You had 58% turnout during COVID, and now we are out of COVID, 54% turnout. Less people voted this time around than when it was COVID. What it means is 5 out of 10 people didn't bother to vote in Trinidad. Then when you look at the actual numbers, the ruling party, the UNC, the Indian Party, increased its votes by 35,000. But the Black Party, the PNM, their votes decreased by 102,000. So all that happened in the election is that the UNC increased its votes in its base, but the African base stayed away. 102,000. Mr. Rowley is stepping down. Who does the PNM put as the prime ministerial candidate? They ignored a popular woman, Camille Regis, popular black woman, popular. And they put somebody from what they call in Trinidad, the French Creole elite. Strout Young is, I think, half Chinese and so on and so forth. And black people say, a black woman not good enough? We staying home. The oil refinery closed down. Who were the majority of workers who were affected? Black people. And the PNM refused to recognize the racial component and the racial feelings. And 102,000 of their supporters stayed away. Now the Indian analysts, I saw my friend Roy talking in today's paper about floating vote. Let me say the 35,000 more votes that the UNC got, even if all of them is black people, it still means that 69,000 black people stayed away. Now all that happened is not no crossover vote caused the UNC to win. It's black people, 102,000 of them didn't go to vote. because the UNC put the wrong body as the prime ministerial candidate. And they didn't pay attention to the fact that black people were affected by the closing of the oil refinery. They did not pay attention to their ethnic base. Sisters and brothers, all you know, there's something I'm preaching here, day in, day out. I hope them opposition brother leaders and sister leaders that I have studied Trinidad, you win or you lose an election, not with crossover vote. You win or lose with your ethnic base in an ethnic society. If of those 102,000, if half of them, 50,000, had come to the polls, the results would have been different. All that happened is that there were marginal seats where the PNM won by a couple thousand votes in 2020. Now, black people stay away. Indian people go to the poll. They win in the marginal seats. The UNC gets 7 more seats with just an increase of 35,000 votes, which means 35,000 more Indians, Trinidadians went out. And 102,000 Africans stay away. The turnout was 54%. If the PNM could have brought out half of those 100,000 votes that it brought out in 2020, the results would have been different. I hope you all send my comments to Brother Aubrey, to Brother Nigel, to Brother Terence, to Sister Manza, to Sister, what's your name? My soldier sister, Sister Simona, because they're the leaders. They don't put people like me picture up as leaders. They're the leaders, and I love it. Let it go. Send what they're saying to them. You do not win an election in an ethnic society with crossover vote. You win with your base. And you see all them young people that out there with a candle every night. All them lady out there with a candle every night. All them young so-called scrapers who are out there. If we can get them to the poll, the coalition would win. Coalition ain't gonna win with crossover votes. Amanza should be visiting black families also. They got a lot of black families who get more than acid thrown in the face. But no. Abi this vote no matter. I am saying to you all, tell them David Ainse, pay attention to Trinidad. Pay attention to Trinidad. You see them young scrape where you all talking about? Is PPP socialize them? Is they tell them don't bother with David Ainse and them, you all make money? Is they socialize them to attack opposition meetings? Is they socialize them to come in opposition meetings and beat up Indians? What they don't understand is that somebody may be a scrapehead or scraper, but that same person is also a human being. That same person is an African. So that same person has different and varying outlooks. Their only outlook is not just to sell the little thing and say, all right, Jack Joe, you want we for be bad man, give me a 2 million. That is one aspect of them. There are other aspects of them. And so if you see people one-dimensionally, you end up with what's happening. It's Jack Joe scrapeheads, turn back again, see. Is Jack Dio scrapeheads turned back again? See, Monday night. That is why I'm saying to my brother and sister, them, you all do not condemn what you all don't own. The people who cock Jack Dio, them boys cocky. And locking them up. And some of them getting bail, some not getting bail. And you make sense of the nonsense, black folks and opposition folks. You all make sense of the nonsense. It's Jack Dio scrapeheads who turn against him. And people like myself who spend some time thinking this thing through, know that they will turn against him. But you see, Jack Dio and them view is that black people are shallow. I always tell the black leaders them, look, why you all think Indian people stupid? That Indian people gonna abandon the PPP because of friends, family, and favorites. Indian people want to become family and favorites. Indian people know the PPP doing stupidness and wrongness to black people and wrongness to Guyana. But why do you all think because of that they're going to left and come to we? They're not stupid. They're rational. Indian people are rational. And if you approach them as rational people, you will understand that trying to believe they will come over to us because the PPP doing bad is stupidness. In the same way, Jack Dio and them got to realize that black people are rational. And they may be hungry. They may want money, and you throw a little money at them, they take it. But that don't mean that they become loyal to you. I end with this story. I understand they get a buy in Buxton. He is what people may call scrape. I don't know. He is drink up, he lick and so on. But he just walk. You fetch fish. He do his day walk, as they call it. And he get a little money, drink up his rum, and thing, he thing, and he walk around. And here he get $100,000. And he buy a bicycle. And like he buy a tablet. And he attached the tablet to the bicycle. So every evening, he tune into Politics 101, then he tune into Sherrod, and then he tune into Bench Cup and so on. And me here, when Politics 101 done, you're right wrong with the bicycle, with the thing and the thing. David Hines was critical of Amanza tonight, and he was right. And he moved on. He got the next corner, and he relate what David Hines said on the program. They might call him scraper. He take $100,000 and buy one bicycle. Then I tell me the story, talking, and then give me the story. And he buy a tablet for watch he program. He attach it to the bicycle. You right wrong. They said, well, then buy got TV bicycle with the thing. And they said, nobody not interfere with the bicycle. And he tablet. Unintended consequences and thinking people are fools. He goes around every night when Politics 101 done and telling them who and watch Politics 101, what the countryman David Hines said. When I say I stand with the so-called poor and the powerless, I don't like the term scrapers, but if there is a term they're using, they said David Hines stand with the scrapers. Yes, I stand with them. Because I understand them. I understand the origins of their plight. I understand their weaknesses, but I understand their enormous strength. That section of our society are more likely to be conscious than those of us who believe that we have made it, and that regardless of what's happening around us, we can survive. the working poor, the not working poor, the sufferers in our society, they know what it is. They are more in tune with what's happening around them. They can see oppression. They can smell it more than the rest of us because they live it. Turn their bottom river, he no know how sun at because he's insulated from the sun. But those at the top of the river who got to deal with the sun every day, they're much more conscious of the effects of the sun. But even the town where their bottom river, sometime that stone will come up top and the sun will knock him. And he is realizing that the stone at the bottom of the river and the stone at the top of the river are the same stone. And what we are seeing here in Guyana is the remarkable force of the working and not so working poor, organizing and responding in their own way, in their own voices. And those who are better off in the society, responding in their own voices. And those Guyanese at home and abroad. And it is the margin of that powerful force of the people that is playing itself out in Guyana now, in what I am calling the civil resistance. When you see black people close their eyes and start to sing and wave their hand like this, don't mess with them. Don't mess with them. Something is happening in our society that is teaching the leaders a lesson on both sides. And they are teaching all of us as Guyanese a lesson. And no amount of locking up of poor people gonna stop this ride. Gonna stop this force. No amount. Bob Marley said it. No bullets can stop us now. And the PPP respond with locking up. You know, it's going to fuel more resentment. It was dependent, the PPP was dependent on the scripts to put bullets in people like me. It was socializing the scripts to terrorize the black community. But now the scripts are standing tall. And they're saying the real terrorist in the society is the state. It is the state that's terrorizing people. It is the state that is now terrorizing the scrapeheads. It is the state that is terrorizing teachers. It is the state that terrorizing black people. It is the state that terrorizing Indian people who dare to raise their voices. It is that state that has been terrorizing Amerindian people in more ways than one. It is that same state that has been terrorizing black leaders, terrorizing them into cowardice, making them yapping all kind of nonsense. Give credit where it's true. The middle class run off of their mouth at the beginning, but they're walking it back now. And you're hearing much more sensible and reasoned analysis coming from them. When Nigel Hughes said the other night, intimated that he has evidence that they're planning, the PPP is planning to disrupt that funeral and blame it on black people, and that he's prepared to bring private criminal charges against people who do it. The assistant commissioner calling Nigel must share intelligence with the ice pass Nigel Hughes. You want to implicate Nigel? Nigel said very clearly that he has evidence that they're planning to infiltrate that funeral and cause mayhem. And that he, Nigel, is prepared to bring private criminal charges against them. Calling Nigel for show, give you evidence. And Nigel says, if I tell you who my sources are, in Guyana, you can trace my source. Get the hell out of my face. I salute Nigel Hughes. And I say to that brother, your place is not outside of a grand coalition. Your place is not to create no PPP minority government. Your place is in the family of fighters and revolutionaries. Because God has put you in this time not to be a spoiler, but to be a leader. And not all of us can be the top man, Nigel. Not all of us. You are as equal as Norton. You are deserving to be a presidential candidate. If the Guyana Constitution had asked for 2 presidential candidates per ticket, right away I will say, you are Norton. I will have no hesitation. No hesitation. Unfortunately, they only want one. And sometimes we have to be dictated by the logic of the ancestral wisdom. I love you, brother. You know that. You're representing two WPA people now, right now. The little girl who they're trying to hang because she must make some voice note, you're representing her. And I've always said on this program to the zealous people here, you can vex with Nigel, don't cuss it. Thank you, brother. Thank you. I understand that sometimes it is tempting to play to the gallery. And I know as political people, you have to differentiate yourself from Norton, or you have to differentiate yourself from David Hines, or you have to differentiate yourself from this body, and so on, so that you have your own political personality. I understand all of that. And you have a right to carve out your own political identity. But we're not going to survive in Guyana as Black people, as poor people, as brown sufferers, if we don't bring together our various identities. I'm pleading again with you tonight, Nigel. Pleading with you. You are not a partisan figure. Don't act partisan. You're a unifier. You're a unifying figure. Be that unifying figure. And sometimes unifying figures have to step back. The gods will not be angry with you if you allow yourself to be led by Aubrey Norton. The gods will not be angry with you. As I've said over and over again, where Norton is weak, make him strong. The gathering that you all had in front of the hotel last week, parties were left out. The PNC, APNU, and the WPA. It can be you all left out us because we too radical, because you all invite my radical brother, Apostle London. So it can be that you all didn't want radical people there because Apostle London and Simone are more radical than me. So it's not radicalism you all run away from. They're more radical than me and Aubrey. So it can't be radicalism that you all left me and Aubrey out. It's something else. I like the fact that you all came together. I like the fact that you all came together. Even if it means that I get left out. When Nigel leaving me out and stopping me. I still roll in with full force. And leaving me out does not diminish my love for you. Leaving me out doesn't mean that I will not subject myself to your leadership. You know why? Because I was trained by Iusi Kwayana and Walter Rodney and Clive Thomas and Rupert Rupnarain and Andaye and Josh Ramsamy and Takumo Ogunse and the host of revolutionaries. That it is always what is best for the people and the country, even if it means that I have to be out of it. Now is not the time for fracturing. The unity of the scrapes and the women, young and old women, is a powerful force. The unity of those at home and in the diaspora is a powerful force. So when our people are uniting, my brother Nigel, it is not the time for our leaders to be fracturing. I choose to speak to you tonight in the public space, because what I say in public, I will say to you in private, if and when I get a chance. I requested you, Brother Nigel, to join Brother Aubrey in Buxton on the 1st of August. And I stood there and under your hand joined with Nigel's hand, with Aubrey's hand. It is because I respect you. Seize the time. I'm going to talk to Aubrey in another public commentary before the end of the week. We have work to do. And our work is the people's work. We have been led by our people. They have parted the sea so that we can see through to the other bank. It's up to us to seize the time. Good night. Asante Sana.